Imagine this. It's a quiet summer morning in the Pacific Northwest, and suddenly, the ground beneath Mount Rainier starts whispering secrets. Not with one earth-shaking roar, but with a relentless chatter. Over 10,000 tiny earthquakes in just a few weeks, rattling the volcano like a cosmic drum solo that won't quit. Welcome to the wild world of seismic swarms, those mysterious bursts of quakes that have scientists scratching their heads and the rest of us wondering if Mother Earth is trying to tell us something big. Hey there, if you're like me, curious about the planet's hidden pulses and the stories buried deep in its crust, this is your jam. I'm talking about seismic swarms, these sneaky clusters of earthquakes that pop up without the usual drama of a blockbuster main event. Picture a party where everyone's chatting at once. No one's the star of the show, and the vibe just keeps building. That's a swarm in a nutshell. Unlike your classic earthquake, where a massive main shock hits first and then smaller aftershocks trail off like fading echoes, swarms are all about equals. Dozens, hundreds, even thousands of shakes of similar size crammed into a tiny spot over days or weeks. They don't follow the rules, and that's what makes them so darn intriguing. Let me break it down without the jargon overload. Earthquakes happen when rocks stuck along faults, those giant cracks in the planet's skin, finally snap under pressure from shifting plates. Boom, energy releases, ground jiggles. But in a swarm, it's like someone's flipped a switch on the underground plumbing. Scientists think the main culprit is fluids. Yep, just water, steam, or even gas, sneaking into those faults. Imagine pouring oil into a dry sponge. It spreads fast, loosens things up, and suddenly the whole thing's slippery. That fluid pressure builds, cracks the rock a bit, lets in more fluid, and wham! Chain reaction of mini-quakes. No single big break, just a frenzy of little ones as the system tries to balance itself. And get this, these aren't always volcanic tantrums, though they love hanging out near hotspots. Sometimes it's magma bubbling up like soda in a shaken bottle, fracturing the crust as it pushes through. Other times it's sneaky slow slips, faults gliding inch by inch without a full rupture, but with sticky patches that pop off small quakes like firecrackers. Fun fact, in places like Yellowstone, cooling magma deep down releases hot water and gases that percolate up, turning the ground into a bubbling cauldron. It's like Earth's way of venting steam from a pressure cooker, but on a geological scale. Now let's zoom out to the global stage, because swarms aren't loners. They're popping up everywhere, from the fiery ring of fire to sleepy continental hearts. Take Mount Rainier in July 2025. This sleeping giant in Washington state, just a stone's throw from Seattle, lit up with its biggest swarm ever. Over 1,100 quakes we could pinpoint, but dig deeper with fancy detection tech, and it's closer to 10,000 tremors, all huddled under the volcano's icy cap. Magnitudes? Mostly under 2. Too small to feel unless you're a seismograph. But the sheer volume had folks on edge. Turns out, it was the hydrothermal system acting up, hot fluids circulating along old faults, like a clogged drain finally bursting free. No eruption on the horizon, thank goodness, but it reminded us that even dormant volcanoes are alive and kicking. Across the Atlantic, Santorini, that postcard-perfect Greek island with its whitewashed cliffs and azure seas, had its own drama earlier this year. Starting in late January 2025, the seafloor between Santorini and nearby Amorgos turned into a quake factory. Thousands of shakes, ramping up to 30 a day by February, with a beefy 5.1 that folks felt all the way in Athens and even Turkey, over 150 miles away. Evacuations hit 11,000 people as rocks tumbled and buildings creaked. Blame the Hellenic subduction zone where Africa's plate is diving under Eurasia, squeezing faults like a vice. Fluids from that deep churn? Check. Volcanic unrest? Nope. Just tectonic housekeeping that could drag on for months. It's a stark reminder. Paradise has a pulse. And it's not just the usual suspects. In sunny Southern California this spring, swarms buzzed under the San Andreas Fault, testing the nerves of Angelenos already primed for the big one. Japan's Tokara Islands, a volcanic speck in the Pacific, saw a similar frenzy in 2025, with public jitters echoing the 2024 swarm off Noto Peninsula that whispered warnings before a devastating 7.6 quake struck on New Year's Day. That one? A textbook tease. Fluids from deep heat seeping into faults, priming the pump for the monster event. Coincidence? Or a global conversation we're only starting to overhear? Another. Distant big quakes, like that 8.8 monster off Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula in August 2025, might send ripples that nudge far-off swarms into overdrive. Speaking of Yellowstone, our very own supervolcano in Wyoming, affectionately called the world's largest geyser, hosts swarms like clockwork. The Maple Creek swarm northwest of the caldera lasted so long in 2017, it snagged second place on the all-time list for the area. But 2025 brought fresh action. Long-term data shows these bursts tied to magma crystallizing miles down, releasing water like a slow leaking faucet. Fun fact, Yellowstone swarms migrate, zipping along at walking speeds, about 3 miles per day, as fluids diffuse through the crust. It's like watching a subterranean game of tag, where one quake taps the next on the shoulder. So why the mystery? Why do these swarms sync up across oceans like Earth's crust is humming the same tune? Researchers are piecing it together with high-tech toys, seismic arrays that catch whispers we used to miss, satellite radar spotting tiny ground tilts, even lab experiments squeezing rocks till they squeak. One wild idea, gas bubbles in those fluids, think carbon dioxide fizzing up, could spike pressure like shaking a Coke bottle, triggering cascades. Another, distant big quakes, like that 8.8 monster off Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula in August 2025, might send ripples that nudge far-off swarms into overdrive. No smoking gun yet, but it's thrilling. Earth's not random. It's a symphony of stresses and slips. Here's a mindbender. Swarms might be nature's early warning system. That Japan event in 2024? The preceding swarm gave seismologists a heads up, buying precious minutes via shake alert. Imagine if we cracked the code, predicting not just when, but why these clusters form. It could save lives from California to the Cascades, turning dread into preparedness. But let's keep it real. These swarms remind us we're guests on a restless rock. They're not out to get us. They're the planet breathing, reshaping itself over eons. Next time you feel a tremor, or even just stand on solid ground, think of the fluids flowing unseen, the faults flexing like old friends catching up. It's chaotic, sure, but beautiful too. What's your take? Ever felt a swarm shake your world? Drop a comment below, I'd love to hear. And if this sparked your seismic curiosity, hit that subscribe for more dives into Earth's wild side. After all, the ground beneath our feet? It's got stories deeper than we can imagine. Stay curious, stay steady.